battle between good and evil has begun.
One of the most powerful of all our passions is the desire to be admired and respected. Time stays long enough for anyone who will use it. How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself to make it just and holy. As a rule, men worry more about what they can't see than about what they can. Maturity is the ability to postpone gratification. Worry not that no one knows you. Seek to be worth knowing. All family life is organized around the most damaged person in it. Develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success. There are two wolves fighting inside all of us. The first one is evil. The second one is good. Which wolf will win? The one you feed. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. We are born at a given moment, in a given place, and like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season in which we are born. I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. If we happen to hear how half a dozen rams scornfully scold an outstanding person, then we will understand that to value the opinion of people highly will be a lot of honor for them. Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it. An intelligent man is sometimes forced to be drunk to spend time with his fools. Only people who are capable of loving strongly can also suffer great sorrow. But this same necessity of loving serves to counteract their grief and heals them. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Fools have a habit of believing that everything written by a famous author is admirable. For my part, I read only to please myself, and like only what suits my taste. The attempt to develop a sense of humor and to see things in a humorous light is some kind of a trick learned while mastering the art of living. If you create an act, you create a habit. If you create a habit, you create a character. If you create a character, you create a destiny. I realized then that a man who had lived only one day could easily live for 100 years in prison. He would have enough memories to keep him from being bored. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. No woman or man really knows what perfect love is until they have been married a quarter of a century. There are two levers to control people. The first is personal gain, and the second is money. A fool is known by his speech, and a wise man by silence. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. Pride cost us more than hunger, thirst, and cold. No one is forced to enter into marriage, but everyone must be forced to obey the laws of marriage once he has entered into marriage. Never trust Russians, because Russians don't even trust themselves. Life is nothing but a competition to be the criminal rather than the victim. We know that no one ever seizes power with the intention of relinquishing it. The busier we are, the more acutely we feel that we live, the more conscious we are of life. The goal of the writer is to keep civilization from self-destruction. Few things are harder to put up with than the annoyance of a good example. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. We owe to the Middle Ages the two worst inventions of humanity: romantic love and gunpowder. Faith is necessary to men. Woe to him who believes in nothing. A rich society must care for the poor. Move not unless you see an advantage. Use not your troops unless there is something to be gained. Fight not unless the position is critical. He who fearfully cares about how not to lose his life will never rejoice in this life. Let none find fault with others. Let none see the omissions and commissions of others. But let one see one's own acts, done and undone. After all these years, I see that I was mistaken about Eve in the beginning. It is better to live outside the garden with her than inside it without her. One reason why birds and horses are not unhappy is because they are not trying to impress other birds and horses. A lonely person cannot be abandoned. In the end, it is not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. There is no man living that cannot do more than he thinks he can. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. The strength of a woman lies in the weaknesses of men. I can bear any pain as long as it has meaning. My treasure lies in my friends.